Welcome back to another video. My name is Michael. I'm the founder of Buffalo Performance and Analysis, where we combine sports science, strength and conditioning, and sports performance to give coaches the tools necessary to build the next level of elite athletes. In this video, we're doing another video utilizing our studio, looking at NFL concussion injuries. To start, we're going to install the packages that we need. We're just going to use Tidyverse and Ggplot, and I've already gone ahead and done that. Next thing we're going to do is import our data set, which I've already done as well, and it is titled Concussion NFL. When we take a look at it, we see all the factors. We have the player name, the team that they played for, the game that they got injured in, the date, the opposing team, the position that they played, whether it was a preseason injury, whether or not they won the game or not, which week they got injured in, as well as what season. We see that we have 3 different seasons that we're looking at. It also tells us what week, or how many weeks rather, they were injured, how many games they missed, whether or not it was an unknown injury, and then what the reported injury type was, as well as a couple other factors. We see when we look at the reported injury type, we have head injuries, concussion injuries, and then in addition, we also have illness injuries. We only want to be looking at the reported concussions. So to do that, we are going to clean the data, and we are going to name that new data frame con, short for concussion. And it's going to be a subset of our original data frame, and all we want are the reported injury types being concussion. So when we run these 2 lines of code, it gives us this new data frame, and we see here when we scroll over to the reported injury type, it only returns concussions. We do this because illness, we don't know what that illness was. We also took away head injuries because there are other non-concussion injuries that can occur at the head. So we only want to look at diagnosed concussions for this analysis. Moving on, we are going to then break it down, and we want to get a count of how many injuries occurred, how many concussions occurred per team, and we also want to break it down by season. So we're going to create a new data frame, call it con2, referencing to con1, and then we're going to count by the team, the season, and the reported injury type, and then we're going to arrange it by the team and the season. And when we run these lines of code, we see that we have it in alphabetical order, the team, then it has it by the season, the concussion, and then how many injuries occurred. After that, we want to summarize the data that we just looked at. So what we're going to use is we're going to utilize con2, and we want to take a look at the mean, the standard deviation, and then we also want to just get an overall summary. So when we run these lines of code, we see that the mean is 3.786. We have the quartile range, we have the median, we have the max and min. And then in addition, we have, again, the mean, here it's rounded, as well as the standard deviation. What we're going to do with this data is take a look at outlier data and do more analysis on those teams. What we're going to classify an outlier is any team that has concussions above 2 standard deviations past the mean. So if we know that the mean is 3.79 and we have 1 standard deviation of 2.35, 2 standard deviations is going to be 4.7. So 3.79 plus 2 standard deviations returns 3.49 concussions per season. Obviously, you can't have 0.49 concussions in a season, so we're going to reduce it down to 8 concussions. So that way we know that any team with more than 8 concussions in a single season is considered an outlier team. When we do that, we can actually come over to our con2 and we can arrange highest to lowest, and we see that there are 4 seasons in which teams are considered outliers. So that is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals from 2013 to 2014 with 12 concussions in 1 season. The Oakland Raiders in 2012-2013, again, 12 concussions in 1 season. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, back-to-back seasons, 2012 to 2013, they had 9 concussions. And then the next season, 2013 to 2014, they reduced their concussions by 1, and they're at 8, still classified as an outlier because they're above 2 standard deviations past the mean. So the first team we're going to look at is the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to create a new data frame, call it Cincinnati, and we're going to filter that data where the only teams that it returns are the Cincinnati Bengals. So after we run these lines of code, it's not going to return a view because I didn't call for R to view the data frame, but we're going to utilize Ggplot, utilizing Cincinnati, and then we're going to use the x-axis as the season, and we're going to color by the season. And we see over the course of 2 seasons, in 2013, we see 12 concussions, 2014, 2015, 5 concussions. But this doesn't really give us a great look at the team aspect. So what we're going to go ahead and do is break it down by position. So again, x-axis is going to be the season. We're going to use the color as the season, but we're going to use facet wrap, and we're going to break it down per position. So we see that defensive ends in 2013 with 5 concussions is a really big leading cause as to why the Cincinnati Bengals were considered an outlier in 2013-2014. It would be great for the coaching staff and athletic medicine staff to look back at the data and see why 5 defensive ends got concussions in 2013 and 2014. Moving on to the Oakland Raiders, we're going to do the same thing where we're going to create a new data frame called Oakland. Again, the same process. We're going to create a season by season comparison where we can see 12 concussions down to 7 concussions all the way down to 2 concussions. So they did a great job over the span of 3 years, drastically reducing their concussion risks. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 2012-2013. That's what we're really interested in. Again, utilizing facet wrap by position to see if there are any individual positions that led to the Oakland Raiders being considered an outlier. At the Oakland Raiders, we see that in 2012, corners, safeties, and guards are the 3 main positions that led to the Oakland Raiders being considered an outlier team. The last team, we're going to take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, creating a new data frame called Jacksonville, filtering by the team, returning only where the team is Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to do the same thing where we are going to look season by season as an entire team. We see that in 2012-2013, they had 9 concussions. The next year they had 8. And then the next year after that, they only had 3. So they went from 8 to 3, which is really, really great. But we need to look deeper into 2012-2013 as well as 2013-2014 as to why they had outlier amounts of concussions. We're going to go ahead and break it down by facet wrap, again utilizing the team as Jacksonville Jaguars. When we see that the cornerbacks and the wide receivers are 2 of the key factors why in 2012 and 2013 that they had an outlier amount of concussions. Like in the other R-script videos, this is a way for me to track and monitor my progress as I utilize R for programming. In an ideal world, we would have access to the data that shows us why these athletes had concussions, not just whether or not they had a concussion.